Hi, thank you for everyone for being here. Thank you everyone online for being here. My name is Blake Holt. This is my presentation. Um, so I'm going to start out with a little bit about me. I am the equipment and material intern. Graduated high school in the RC C-Tech program in June. A couple things I like to do is motocross, being outside. I'm always open to learning new things. I like going fishing and hiking. These are a couple of pictures of those things and things that have gone wrong during those. So my company values and mission that I got out of it, so I'm kind of going to go read through it and then talk a little bit of it and my experience with that. So always striving for an accident-free workplace and doing everything necessary to reduce risk injuries that are presented to us. Earning loyalty from our customers by performing with the highest level of integrity, professionalism, and quality, holding yourself and other coworkers in the company accountable, especially when it comes to the customers. Empowering people to perform to the best of their abilities and become valuable members to the company. Respecting balance between home and work life, and encouraging ongoing training and education. Always finding ways to improve the company and processes by using 2-second lean. We can take a step back, looking from the outside in to give insight and be more efficient and productive and better quality than before. So the values, they kind of go along with the missions. Quality, let me go back and talk about this a little bit more. So always striving for an accident-free workplace. I've experienced this a lot with using machinery like forklift, which I will talk about later, and always checking for risk and making sure we could reduce it any way possible. Going out to job sites, seeing if there's any risks that we could mitigate and kind of help out. Performing with the highest level of integrity and professionalism. I've experienced this a lot with outfitting new vehicles and equipment by identifying them with either stickers, paint, decals, so we'd be able to stamp our name on it and send them out 100% ready to go. Empowering people to perform the best of their abilities. I've seen this a lot. I've heard a lot. I'm not really sure what I want to go into school for, but everyone keeps telling me you just got to do it, you just got to do it, pushing me to ask for help and stuff like that. Using 2-second lean. I've seen this a lot by how Sam mentioned the prefab, art shop as well, which I have some pictures of it, and I'll talk about it a little bit more. So the values, quality, always making sure we strive to have the best workmanship, system, and processes. This kind of stuck with me because we want to be the best and have the best solutions and best relationships with customers and coworkers. Knowledge, which kind of goes back to the mission of empowering and always wanting ongoing training. Safety, it also kind of goes back to the other safety, so it's kind of a little bit repetitive. Always reducing risk, making sure we're more respectable, keeping our reputation up, and desire. This one struck with me a lot. It's kind of like the why you want to go to work, what you want to improve, and what you can make better. So my internship experience, so my experience at AC started out by we would have vehicles brought in that needed to be serviced or minor repairs and such things like that. So we would take them in. If it was just like a service, we'd clean them up, making sure we detail them and they're ready to go. Sorry about that. And we would check the oil, all the other fluids, inspect them. This picture is kind of us inspecting it, making sure it's ready to go back out to the field before we actually release it. Another thing that I learned was the process of trailer towing. and getting experience towing and backing up trailers, which I still suck at. Learning how to properly secure them and objects that are on the trailers to ensure equipment do not fall off or cause any serious accidents. So this is one of the pool vehicles that came in, and it came in looking pretty rough. It needed some love. This is when it left. We kind of took our time on this one a little bit and made sure, because we heard that nobody was really using it. It was just sitting there, and I mean, I wonder why. It didn't look too good. So this picture is kind of a process of a data communication box. It was when I got to learn the basics of MIG welding. Something I've never done before, not good at it at all, but it was a new experience. I enjoyed the challenge. One of the challenges I had with it was, so basically what it was, people cut into this box to steal all the printers and laptops and computers out of it. So what it was, there was a huge gap in between it, and trying to weld it back through was pretty much impossible for me. But I figured out a way that by putting a metal sheet on the back of it and then welding it to ensure the stronger weld, and hopefully trying to prevent from it being broken into again. So another thing that I learned was the forklift certification and gaining experience operating a forklift safely in an effective manner. We would use it for towing trailers around the shop, so we would be able to work on them without having to hook it up to trucks and such, just to ensure safety. It would make it more efficient, a lot easier, better view when you're sitting in a forklift and trying to look back in a truck or a vehicle. We would also use it to carry pallets of supplies, either at the shop or other divisions. I was also, one of my other responsibilities that I had was plant maintenance and minor repairs at facilities such as headquarters. We would go over every Monday or every other Monday, clean up the ponds and making sure the weeds and stuff like that were good. We would also go over to 18th Street and clean up any trash, and things like that. So this was the finished result of that box that I had done. I did not do any of the painting on it, but all the stickers and the diamond plated shield we put on to hide my ugly welds, but it worked. So another thing, I learned the AC's tag transmittal processes. So I would go update the registrations, all the insurance, the stickers that would need to be for it. Also making sure that they had first aid kits, the accident report forms, things like that. Then I would put it into our mileage tracker for that vehicle to kind of get an average of what each division is using on mileage for those vehicles. This is very important to stay up to date, so we can kind of track the process of each vehicle, if they need to be serviced, when's the last time they were updated. I also learned the designated operator program. We would go out to job sites, thoroughly train field staff on how to properly inspect equipment. They would be trained in, they would train and inspect on things like mini excavators or skid steers, so they would be able to use them on the job sites when needed. After inspecting them, showing them all the grease points of the machines, what to check every morning, what colors the fluids should be so they're not messing up the vehicles. Then after that, they would go undergo forms and take a test to be able to be automatically graded and be able to use those machines. This truck is one of the trucks that we didn't upfit, but I did do the transmittal process on, which took me a little while because it was my first one. And I struggled with it a little bit, which it shouldn't have been. Um, so we would also upfit new AC-owned vehicles. We would, after purchasing and filing all of the equipment, putting them into Spectrum, we would identify them, take pictures of them, adding equipment numbers on them. We would engrave, detail, if they needed like the service truck beds or the racks on top, we would put those up on, send them out to get them all ready, making sure that whatever we wanted on the vehicle, it had, and if not, we would go and purchase and have someone put them on. This was also kind of taught me how we track vehicles. We would also have hard copies and place information into Spectrum, which allowed us to, if it needed to be serviced, we could have that down in Spectrum and be able to use for the next time they needed to be serviced. I also learned equipment calibration and certification, reviewing our equipment calendar to see which equipment needs to be calibrated. So what that is kind of like all the equipment like scanners and stuff that would be out in the field that needs to be calibrated so it's 100% ready to be in the field and won't have any problems. We would check our calendar that is on Spectrum, and we would see which ones needed to be done. It was kind of color coordinated from this year and last year, and we would take them in, get them calibrated, and get them back out to the jobs fields so they would be ready to be put back to use. So this picture is kind of during the designated operator program. It was just kind of me watching, didn't really know what was happening or why he was digging right there, but just kind of seeing if he knew how to operate it properly after it was already inspected. After this, he did take the test on Go Forms. My team structure, I reported to Dylan. I worked with Dylan and Juan, all the other division MECs throughout most of the internship, but I also worked with plant staff and other members in divisions. The 5 biggest takeaways I got from this was there's always a better way, a more efficient way of doing something that also saved money, and another is to treat people with respect and it will be returned. I also took away that how company uses decentralized command by leaning, and I never really realized how company will only have like 6, or a manager kind of in charge of 6 people, which would be like the optimal team, which I found pretty interesting because I would think it would be like a lot more, and I was wrong. By leaning and supporting the other divisions and branches, it will help it run smoothly. Also, that learning and failing is part of succeeding, which to me it was through high school. It's always, oh, you have to get good grades, you can't fail, or else you're not going to graduate. Which through this process, it kind of made me realize, which is kind of like a paradigm shift for me. So this is another project we kind of worked on. It wasn't my idea, it was Juan's idea, but it's kind of like an old ammo box that we transformed into a trailer light tester. So instead of having to hook up vehicles to test the trailer lights to see if they're working, ready to go, we could just bring that over and plug it in. And each light switch would be labeled with which light it would go to, so right, left, or if it was running, such as brakes and stuff. The top left one ended up not working, so we just left it there because we did not want just a hole in the box. So it's pretty much just for looks now. But then I took the time to identify it, put an AC logo on it, and paint it. So these are a couple other projects I kind of worked on. So the one on the left, it's kind of hard to see, but there's like a laser. So it's like kind of like the laser level for putting on the stickers and making sure the level, even though to me they still kind of look crooked, but I guess it's kind of just how the truck body is slanted and stuff. making sure that they have the 360 walk around to ensure that if there is an accident, that it is on there, so it is their fault. But the one on the right was an old service truck, which I don't know why it's a different color, but I guess they had a purpose for those ones. But we took off all the service bed truck. We took off all of any of the lights, the decals, anything that identify it with AC, so we would be able to take it out to auction. On the back, you can kind of see the little lights that we put on, the temporary ones, just to get it to the auction. And we had to zip tie them all down, and it was a whole process. So this is a cart we kind of have to, like, when we, I guess I would say detail cars, but it's not really. So on the left we had like the mop and brush and stuff like that would hang there, which before they would just kind of like hang out the side and underneath, so we kind of hooked them up so it would be easier for moving around, which helped efficiency and productiveness because everything was just right there on that car. That car has only ever had that stuff on it, which really helped us out. So the way the books helped me and throughout the book club, so reading the 3 books, 2 Second Lean, Extreme Ownership, and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, it's helped me realize like there's always room for improvement. It was hard for me to start thinking 2 Second Lean and kind of get that rolling. Like I wasn't understanding it and how to actually start. I figured, you just kind of have to have it or don't. But then it kind of made me thinking, and after doing those projects, it kind of had me thinking there's always a better way. It's just kind of got to think outside the box and take a little time on it maybe, but then over time it'll save time, which is kind of confusing. But it also helped me create a goal to try to make improvement every day, fix a bug. I've done a couple at home. I wish I would have took pictures of them, but it was kind of, I don't know. But also it kind of helped me like connect with others. Before, like I still am kind of do not like talking to people or do not like going out, nothing. I'd rather stay home and do my own thing. But it kind of helped me go out and meet people and talk to everyone. Also thinking when working with other divisions and plant staff and stuff like that, always thinking win-win, how can this work for both of us without one of us being left in a bind. So that really stuck with me. So the idea is that we kind of have an issue with small tools inventory, having an accurate count of what we have in inventory, what's on jobs, and one little tool might not cost very much, but when you have a lot of them going missing on jobs, it can cost the job sites and the company lots of money and time wasted trying to see if we have those. This process will include a more accurate way to regulate the number of tools we have on jobs, being able to track them if they are not needed on jobs, therefore sending them back to the yard to be able to help other divisions and jobs. The way we could achieve this is by seeking an outside small tools inventory system. The outside source will be accessible so that all the MECs or foreman of field staff can have access to where the tools are and if they're available or not. So the way we can ensure the tools are where we need to be is by going out to jobs, like someone such as myself, going out to jobs once a week or once every month or so to check, have a list of what tools say they are there and what need to be there. Also, this will give whoever goes out there a chance to talk, not only to check on tools, but also vehicles and equipment that are out there. Also talk to the foreman and other field staff to see how they're liking those tools, see if there's an equipment, if there is better tools or equipment that we could get for them to eliminate labor hours or waste and be more efficient. This could also create a relationship between the MECs, like myself, or the others with the field staff, and kind of getting connections throughout those. So my lean proposal. So I found a kind of an outside source. I looked through a couple. This is the one that I kind of found that struck with me. So there is some pros and cons. A couple that I found was it's easy to use. It's tool tracking, which is kind of hard to do with little tools. They just go everywhere. It is able to do through the phone, on an app, which I will talk about a little bit later. So it's called Share My Toolbox. So how it works, it keeps simple by focusing on the three most important aspects of small tool tracking. Not only could you do tools, you could do materials and consumables if needed or want to. Also connections, it would be able to see which job site and who is responsible for those tools if they go missing and can be held accountable for them. Items can be assigned to job sites, warehouses, if they're on truck kits that go out to job sites, making sure before they go out to another job, they return those or check them out for that job site. So this is kind of how the app would look in a way. It kind of shows how many items are available and not. The one second from the left is if we wanted to put scanner tags on either toolboxes or materials and stuff like that to kind of see what the tool is, if it's available, if it needs to be calibrated, we could put it on there. That will kind of show, the third one from the left will kind of show all that information I kind of just talked about, the location, where its yard is, if it's at a job site, and things like that. So this is also kind of the search. You can go by categorizing, you can go by location, status, and things like that with filters. It kind of shows that if it's a tool you need that is low and down, or if it's available. Also what location it's at, how it kind of says, it's kind of small, but it says like warehouse. It can kind of say the exact number of the tool, what it is, and stuff like that. So why I think this will help? This improvement will contribute to AC Electric Company by many ways. One is that how I kind of talked about going out to job sites, creating a relationship with field staff will also ensure that any vehicles they have, instead of not wanting to take them in and get serviced and have to borrow some other truck and stuff like that, they would have a better relationship knowing that their truck's going to come back better than it came in. Also with equipment and stuff like that, if they're having problems with it, instead of them messing with it or making it worse than it needs to be. I feel this could be a more efficient inventory system, and it'll help AC grow. It'll help with professionalism, organization of inventory, and efficiency and quality of jobs, and eliminating waste of trying to find tools and see what division has them and if we need to rent them or not, and create a reputation, even better one than we have between AC and its customers. So yeah, questions? Yes.
So, did you look at other software to do, keep track of the tools? And if you did, what was it about this one that made it ahead of the others?
Well, this one was more user friendly. There were other ones that you couldn't do it on an app. You would have to log in. This one kind of ensures that even if you're at home or sitting there, you could just look at it. This will also help out foremen and stuff like that, so where they could look at it on their iPads and such, instead of having to go into the office or a C train and look up on the computer and stuff like that, which would be more efficient. So that kind of stuck out to me, and which will help it a lot.
Which of the books have you read that you like the most?
I think I enjoyed like the storyline of Extreme Ownership the most, because it was kind of more entertaining for me. But I feel like the one that helped me out the most and kind of got me to get the ball rolling was 2 Second Lean. I feel like that one, because I'd never heard of 2 Second Lean or anything like that. I've heard of improvement and stuff like that, but I never heard that like even 2 seconds can help, sort of thing.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a two-part question. I don't know if you'll be able to answer the second part or not. The first part was, you were discussing 2 Second Lean, and you mentioned that you've taken some of these practices to your own home. Could you elaborate on what those were?
Trying to think. Yeah, so my room is kind of like an office, because all my little brothers and stuff have the upstairs rooms, and I'm fine with it because upstairs is way too hot. And I was like, my room has a fan, so it's a plus. But there's like this hallway closet that we have that just had a bunch of junk in it. So my kind of idea was, I took everything out and started hanging my shirts up in there instead of having to fold them, which probably was a bug for my mom, but for me it was an improvement, so I'd have more space and not just folded clothes all over my room and stuff like that.
Okay, and part two of that, first a little history on the dark blue truck. That came from the automated side. That's where I used to work. Okay.
I remember hearing that, but I couldn't remember.
Do you know what number that truck was? Oh, okay, I just wondered if
It was like-
It was your truck.
Yeah, retired my old truck. Yeah.
It was for something.
All right.
He's been looking for you.
Yeah.
He was looking for his truck.
Jen had a question, she posted it on the chat. Her question was, would you recommend the AC internship to other students in the KHSD and ROC program?
Yes, I would. There are some kids that I was with RC there that I wouldn't recommend it to them just because they were a little bit wild and yeah, but I would. There was a couple other students that I think wanted to apply or did or didn't, but I know they were talking about it, and it kind of made me like, maybe I should try it out and see how it works out. And yeah, that's kind of what got me into it.
So I got two more questions online. So Jen had a follow-up question. You're the first ROC student that we've included in the internship program. Which discipline did you come from, and what other disciplines should we be considering in future internship classes?
You mean like class-wise? Is that what, discipline-wise?
Yeah, highlight focus. Yeah.
So mine, I didn't really have like a career path or a plan. It would change every day, like from people telling me you should do this or that, and I'll look into those things and be like, yeah, and I'm like, no. But it was kind of, I was like, I should start somewhere, so I kind of got into the construction trades program there, which also helped me catch up on credits, but being there helped me realize like professionalism matters a lot and will take you far. So it kind of helped me get my foot in the door and open up more opportunities like this one for me.
Gotcha. And so the other part of that was, would you identify any other groups in the ROC program that might benefit from going to the internship?
I think, yeah, because they have a couple other ones, such as they have an entrepreneur one where they would like have their own little shops and sell. I think it would help them kind of, if they wanted to grow their own or be a part of a different one, Also, there's a culinary one that I think they could learn from Phil. And kind of.
That sounds good. You got it. So Julie had a question for you. Her question is, what do you think you would have done differently in your internship?
I think I would have came into it trying to meet more people, be more friendly, and be more connections instead of I was just kind of like, oh, I want to stay at my own little spot. I was like, I don't know. I like to work by myself, so I think kind of being more open and more open to meeting people and stuff like that.
Okay, follow up on that. So we've heard that theme quite a bit from people in these presentations. What can we do as a company to draw that out or help those connections happen?
I think a lot of like the workshops that we did and a lot of the meet and greets and kind of gatherings that we had helped a lot. Cause before I was like, I don't really want to go to book club. I was like, I'm not too big a reader, but it kind of helped me open up more and think about a little bit about the books and actually want to read them.
So Julie had a follow-up question. Her follow-up is, who would you want to have connected more with?
There's probably not like specific people. I would just say anyone I could, because a lot of the other interns talked about the things they did and I did not understand what they were talking about. So probably kind of what the other divisions do and stuff like that.
Jen said, Blake, you need to congratulate yourself. You just graduated high school 10 weeks ago and successfully presented your experience and ideas as well as ideas as well as the undergraduates and graduate students in the program. Very, very, very well done, sir. So.
Yes.
What do you think your goal is now or your career path?
Probably learn as much as I can and I guess try not to mess it up.
Construction or
Careful how you
auto
answer
mechanics?
this meeting.
Like, share what's starting on Monday for you.
Oh, I've actually got offered a job to stay on with AC. I don't know how
So are you going on to school?
Yes, right now I'm kind of iffy about what classes I want to take, but there's been many people who just tell me just jump into something that you want to learn or something that you don't know anything about even, and kind of go from there.
At Bakersfield College?
Yeah.
I
can help with
that's
that.
what you feel, man. So you
Sounds
haven't
good to
selected
me.
a major yet?
No.
If I can suggest anything to you, probably one of the biggest things of finding out what you do want to do is finding out what you don't want to do. So
Yeah.
that's why, I like the Sam's analogy, like you're getting the AC like platter. Kind of get a little feel of everything, see what everybody else does, and see what area sticks in your brain. I think like the other thing I heard, this was pretty recent, someone said like don't follow your dreams or your passions, like follow what you're good at. So, figure out what you are like really, really good at, like, and what you would want to focus in on for a while, and then hone that skill, master it, and then learn to love it a little bit.
That's the best use of your first college year.
Yeah.
It's sample things that you otherwise wouldn't have looked at.
I would also say, you've got wonderful professionals here, so interview them, talk to them, meet with them, go out for lunch with them, ask them what interested them and how they got to where they are. Because if you can kind of get a sense, and you've got some wonderful people here that are willing to help you with that career path, that will also help.
Because I think So interviewing folks is a really good idea, especially like when you have a setting like this and just immersing yourself in that and using us all in this room and outside of this room as your resources. Because like I said before you started, man, nobody came because they wanted to see you bomb. We came because we wanted to see you be successful. So use that like as a really good diving board for whatever you want to do.
Any final questions for Blake?
You got a couple, but just some comments. And none of us at 18 knew what the heck we wanted to do. And some of us at 50, mid-50s still aren't sure. I think as you interview people, you'll hear that. So never feel that pressure. Go discover. I had different feedback on your MIG welding.
Mhm.
And the feedback I heard was, it was amazing. It was interesting how quick you learned and mastered it. Those are tough gaps to fill, I saw. Talk to us about how you learned it. What was the process of being taught or being trained in that?
It kind of started out what the machine does, how to use it, how to set up the ground and turn on the gas, make sure that there is gas, making sure you have all the right gear, making sure the gear works, so you won't blind yourself or have hot things that would spew out and hit your arms and stuff like that. I think kind of starting out, I thought it was gonna be a lot different than it was. Seeing like other people talk about it or videos, I was like, oh, I'll just do a line and it'll be good. But it took a lot more patience and sitting there, going back and forth and kind of doing like a zigzag motion, which to me, it did not make sense. But when I started trying it, I mean, me personally, I was like, this is horrible. But then some of it was okay. I kind of just thought I could do better than this. I was like, so I kept trying and kept trying. That's why it took me a little while to do it, but yeah.
Julie had some quick feedback. She said, that's a good one, Phil. Follow what you're good at, not what you dream. I dream of being a singer, yet I only sing in my bathroom.
Another comment, it came out a number of times. For you to understand the importance of relationships, you talked about relationships with divisions, relationships with MECs. That's really cool to hear that you already got that clarity that that's how we get things done, right?
Yeah.
The better that relationship is. So kudos to you.
Which is funny because that's hard for me to do, but I want to do more of it.
Remember, everything we're really good at, we sucked at the first time we did it.
Sure.
And we gotta go through that sucky period to get good at it.
Definitely.
Margaret, did you get something?
Any final thoughts? No? Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Blake.
well done.
Good.